This week, Honda announced that they'll finally be supporting Android Auto alongside Apple CarPlay on the Goldwing's infotainment system. So in today's video, we'll look at everything that it can do, as well as which bikes might receive the update next. But before we get started, if you're new here and you want to see more of the latest motorcycling news right here on YouTube, then please do remember to hit subscribe. The Goldwing already supported Apple CarPlay, and it was a sore point for many Android phone owners that they couldn't use their devices in the same way. A USB cable in the top box or the stash in the center console meant that iPhone users could stow their device neatly and access their favorite CarPlay compatible apps through the screen whilst controlling them using the switchgear or using voice commands with Siri. Automotive manufacturers don't necessarily make great software designers, and as a result, the built-in navigation systems can be a little bit clunky to use. Personally, I hire cars relatively often and prefer to be able to plug into the same CarPlay interface every time, rather than learning to use yet another proprietary set of buttons and screens. Although not all iPhone apps are supported, CarPlay allows you to access WhatsApp messages, iMessage, and use the phone app to make calls. You can also use the podcast app, Audible, or Spotify to listen to your favorite shows, audiobooks, or playlists. But it's probably navigation that offers the most benefit to me. Apple Maps, Google Maps, Waze, and Here are all supported, and it's almost always Waze that I turn to when I'm using CarPlay on a motorcycle. That's because it has motorcycle-specific traffic data, which is to say that ETAs and delays are based on data specifically from other motorcyclists, making them much more accurate. You simply can't compare the ETA of a car to a motorcycle in a city like London, because filtering, or lane splitting as you call it in the US, cuts off about half of the journey time in rush hour traffic. I absolutely loved being able to use CarPlay on both the Goldwing and the new Africa Twin when I borrowed each of them from Honda UK, so I can completely empathise with the frustration of Android Goldwing owners that their operating system of choice wasn't supported despite Android Auto being available on many cars, including some Hondas, since 2016. Android users will now get the full suite of features, including Google Assistant support, which is pretty much the same as Siri. Google Maps and Waze are supported for navigation, messaging, WhatsApp and phone calls are supported for keeping in touch, and Google Play, Spotify and YouTube Music for entertainment purposes, as well as other podcast and audiobook apps. Yes, you could argue that you get a similar experience to Android Auto or CarPlay by mounting your phone on the bars, but integration with the controls on the switchgear or the touchscreen, as is the case with the Africa Twin, as well as the blown up larger design of the interface, make it much easier to use on the go. Honda say that the software update to enable Android Auto will be available from mid-June 2020. But from the looks of the press release, it'll only be the Goldwing that gets this improvement for now. That's a shame for owners of the new Africa Twin, but I can't see why it wouldn't be rolled out to them at a later date. The exact details of the integration are also pretty scarce, which has me wondering whether it will have the same shortcoming as CarPlay. Yes, I loved having it on hand for the most part, but it's frustrating that you have to have a Bluetooth headset paired with the bike's infotainment system for CarPlay to work. Sometimes I switch between different helmets based upon the weather or if I'm filming or not, and not all of them have Bluetooth headsets fitted. It'd be nice to use CarPlay without the audio functionality that I'm not too bothered about anyway. A workaround is to remove the pod of your Bluetooth headset from another helmet, pair it with the bike anyway, and just stick it in your pocket without any earpieces or mic connected. But it's a step I'd rather not have to take. It'll be interesting to know whether Android Auto has the same setup or whether it's a limitation or requirement of the Apple system. I guess we'll find out in June. Honda were in fact the first manufacturer to make CarPlay available on a motorcycle, with the current version of the Goldwing including that feature at its launch in October 2017. But they can't make the same claim when it comes to Android Auto. It was actually Harley-Davidson that beat them to it, announcing Android Auto for for their touring, CVO and trike models in March this year for release in the summer. They'll also start including it on all of their bikes fitted with their Boombox GTS infotainment system in 2021. So there you have it, Harley-Davidson at the bleeding edge of motorcycle technology. I'd love to hear what you all make of this in the comments below. There are some bikers who seem to enjoy the latest gadgets and gizmos, and the ability to access apps on their phone will almost certainly appeal. But then there are others who would rather the money that they spend on the bike go into the best mechanical parts possible, like the engine, suspension and brakes, and care not at all for the electronics. Personally, I'm somewhere in between. On the one hand, I don't think I need CarPlay or Android Auto for my commuting rides across London, and occasionally when I'm diverted because of roadworks or traffic, I actually enjoy getting a bit lost without a sat-nav and using my knowledge of the city to find my way. But if I were to buy a bike like the Goldwing or a Harley Tourer, both of which are built for putting in big miles in absolute comfort, then I can definitely see the appeal. Let me know which camp you're in down in the comments below, and if you're new here and you want to see more videos like this, hit subscribe and I'll catch you next time.